Hello, my name is Elaine Dolalas, and I'm an undergrad advisor for the School of Education and Information Studies. I support the undergraduate program, so that is our major and minors. And I work not closely with Emma, but I will let her explain her role.
Yep. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Emma Hipolito. I'm the director of the teacher education program at UCLA. We're a graduate pathway, but we have a number of undergraduate programs as well, which I will speak about. But Elaine is going to start first, so that you see what is available in the School of Education and Information Studies.
Yeah, so just a short presentation. So the university as a whole, so UCLA is the university as a whole, it's comprised of various colleges and professional schools. So the School of Education and Information Studies is one of the professional schools. And so these are the other schools at our campus. The College of Letters and Sciences has a majority, like the big like majors that everybody knows, like that's what typically a major like a math, history, English, that will fall under the College of Letters and Sciences. But our major is under our own school, Education and Information Studies. So the School of Ed in Info Studies is comprised of the Information Studies Department and the Education Department, and undergraduate programs is another office in that is housed in the school, and we support both. So these are our undergraduate programs. We have the Education and Social Transformation major, the Education Studies minor, and Information and Media Literacy minor, and we'll go into details of those. So the education and social transformation major, we really encourage our students to be advocates of change through a social justice lens in the perspective of education. So when we want our students to understand that they're going to be learning not just in the classroom, but also in all of their fieldwork experiences. And like if you have relationships with nonprofits or anything like that, that's also like a benefit to this major and the tools that you will be getting.
What makes the Education and Social Transformation program unique is that we're not just talking about education in a very neutral or generic sense.
It's a very active, action-oriented major.
We engage in so many different aspects of teaching and learning, all through a lens of social justice.
Being able to connect your readings and the teachings to what you personally experience is something I was never able to experience in any other kind of classroom.
It was an opportunity for me to take my theory that I learned in class and put it into actual practice. A lot of the classes talk about different theoretical frameworks, research methodologies, other forms of practice pedagogy that we are able to put into actual practice, and I thought that was a really good opportunity for me to grow as an educator.
Having a major that worked with education and social transformation and making education a more equitable and a better experience for all children and not just a select few was something that I was really drawn to about this program.
We really help them see how education can be a powerful tool for transformation to be able to make the world a better place.
So I hope you all heard that. Okay, great. So our major allows you to explore different, we have something called areas of competencies, but these topics are typically covered in them. So you will get a foundation in history and philosophies of education. There is an element of human development in our courses that you'll be taking. As an R1 research institution, you're going to be learning research methodology. So you'll learn both quantitative and qualitative research methods in the application of like how to apply it to education. And a component is that as a student, you will learn to identify an issue or problem that you find that is applied to education. Like if you notice a policy issue or like a practice issue, like a classroom teaching issue, you can identify what that is and then figure out a solution for that in this major. And then there's also like the idea of like learning different perspectives by different histories and all through like the social justice lens. Something that is extremely unique for our major is that you are doing work out in the field. And so that is our community engagement series and capstone. So the way this series works is you learn what community engagement means to the university, to yourself, to the faculty, and to the school sites or the nonprofits that you work with, that you will go out into the field with. So everybody gets on the same page. And then the second part of the series is that you're going to do the actual community engagement course. There are different ways to do that at our university. You can go to already chosen school sites. So there's a community lab school on campus. There are partner schools that are in the local area. And then you'll go out to those sites and you will either be like an aide or whatnot, or do like teacher observation, I believe. And so you will be applying all the skills that you learn in your lectures in your fieldwork experience. But there's also a way, so if you're somebody who has worked at an after school program, has a connection to a nonprofit, or connection to a school that's not affiliated with UCLA, you're able to use that relationship and get course credit for it for your community engagement through like a contract course. So we really want you to, like, if you already have a tutoring after school job, we don't want you to get another position. You're able to use that for your internship. There is also the research option. So like you will work closely with a faculty and conduct research in order, and it is community engaged. You're not just like doing paper pushing or anything like that. And you work closely with a faculty member. In the past, our students who have chosen the research option have like done a poster presentation at the end of their experience, and that's really advantageous because you're creating a body of work that can be used on your CV, and you can use that later on when you apply to grad school. And then the fourth option is our study abroad option, actually. It's called Global Internship Program. So we have a study abroad option in the summer where you can go to certain countries and sites and get a community engagement experience for that. And so the sites we have currently are, we have 2 in Mexico, 1 in Bogota, Colombia, 1 in Cape Town, South Africa, and lastly in Bali, Indonesia. I know there's upheaval right now in Bali, Indonesia, but we're in Indonesia, but for the time being, those are our sites. So that's what we will do. And should something arise, like politically or globally, like when we had the pandemic, we shifted, and there are ways that we would accommodate for global internships. So that is something to consider as well. And in the end, you do capstone. So capstone really is a reflection of all your coursework in education. So during the major, and you do a reflection of your internship, plus all the lectures and classes you've taken. And it's really beneficial because you put it all in a capstone project. And for students, our students are typically going to graduate school and applying to grad programs. The capstone project, because you have to do a reflection of everything that you've ever taken, it provides you that background for when you're writing personal statements for grad schools, for teacher education programs. So we've actually had our students express how that was beneficial for them when they were applying to like the programs that Emma supports. So I'll go into details with the minor. So a minor is something that you get in addition to. So let's say you transfer to UCLA and you're an English major, but you want to get an education minor because you want to be an English teacher in the future. Totally accept like what we believe in. We support that. We have the education studies minor. It's 7 courses from our approved list, and you'll take it over the gamut over like different topics. It isn't as restrictive as the major because the major requires you to take like certain classes in certain fields. So this is like really broad. You can just take like, if you wanted to take a bunch of context teaching and learning courses, you could take 7 of those classes and that would count for the minor. And it's particularly for folks, the major and minors are for folks who are interested in grad school, education policy, K through 12, teaching, higher ed, nonprofit work, research, etc. And then we have our information and media literacy minor. It's like a little over 3 to 4 years old, I believe. And this minor is a joint minor in between the Department of Information Studies and Education. It is created, its perspective is to teach students how to think critically about how media is portrayed in society. So this is how it's very timely, especially in how we all ingest media and news these days, and how to think critically of what we are being given. So these are for students who are interested in media literacy, data analysis, social media and society, and like going into nonprofit sector. Wait, go back one. So for you guys are transfer students, so this is what you really need to know. This is you encourage students to do the transfer guide, so the UCLA transfer guide. If you meet those requirements, then that is what will get you to UCLA. Our admission is facilitated through the UCLA Undergraduate Admissions Office. So you have to choose Education and Social Transformation as your pre-major under the College of Letters and Sciences. We have to be your primary major if you elect, there's no way to make us a secondary option. So like when you're applying to schools and whatnot, and you have to choose your primary major as a transfer student, choose Education and Social Transformation, and it will then get you like pipeline you to us. A nice thing I like to say is that like UCLA will get like over 100,000 applications for various majors. Of that 100,000, our major will field roughly around 1,000, maybe 1,500. And from that 1,500, 1,000, 1,500, we typically yield between 70 and 100 students. So I am your typical liberal arts social science person, did not do very well in math, but I do understand that those odds are better in terms of getting and transferring into college than like the general 100,000 people who apply to UCLA for like your typical for like a traditional like English, math, like engineering type major as a transfer student. And then when you are at UCLA, like congrats, you've gotten in, you then take in your fall quarter our lower div prep. We currently do not have lower div prep offered at community colleges. There is one community college, West LA, that has the equivalency of our Education 10 course, but in the other community colleges, like at Rio Hondo, we don't have anything articulated at the moment. If you want to get credit, typically I would say just focus on IGETC, because like once you do all of those, your lower divs GE requirements, that's the best bet for when you transfer to UCLA. And then if you want to take a screenshot of this, this is how to get in touch with us or to reach out to us. We are very active on Instagram. Our students help manage that page, and we post about our programs and events on there. We do things via Message Center. So if you want to reach out to us, you can do that as well. Oh, this is the website. So it guides you to the website. And then that's the link for the transfer admission guide. Please, please, please abide by that. And yeah, that's that. Oh yeah, and this is how to get in touch with us. This is our prospective email, and then Message Center is like a messaging system that the university uses. But I do believe outside students can like message us there and we'll reply to them. And that is it. So if you have any questions, we'll stop sharing. And I can answer any questions in regards to the undergraduate major or whatnot.
So we wanted to pause and give you all time to ask questions. And you can do it in chat, you can unmute and ask the question, but I'm gonna say if you have a burning question, I bet somebody else has it too. So be brave and ask.
And no worries if you don't have them now. Emily is going to send us the information about the transfer fair. So hopefully myself or one of my colleagues will be come out. So if you have any questions that you want to ask in person, you can ask then.
Okay. I was a classroom teacher before I came to UCLA. One of the things we know is you wait for people to think about how they're going to frame a question. So I'm going to wait just a little bit, and then if there are no questions, I know someone wrote that their connection isn't great, and so we know this is being recorded. But Elaine shared a lot of really good information. I think that would be helpful if someone was thinking about transferring to UCLA. Okay. I think I outdid my wait time. What do you think, Elaine? Do I go? Okay. All right, everyone. So now this is about the teacher education program. And we have both graduate students and undergraduate students enrolled. I'm going to share my screen and just start with I thank you for being here. We know that our city is going through a lot of challenges, and we always begin with this is who we are, and we understand the challenges that our communities face. And so we're part of those communities as well. And so I just want to make sure to acknowledge that, that we know things are difficult right now. And thank you for being here. Now I'm going the right way. Well, here we go. So the UCLA Teacher Education Program has real specific goals and purposes. And I will tell you that this program was reorganized during a time of upheaval in Los Angeles. And these are our goals as of then, to prepare teachers with a commitment and capacity to promote social justice and anti-racism. We say in urban schools, but urban schools and communities of color. We are strong believers, right, in academic preparation, but also that it is our responsibility to work together with communities, with parents, with families, with teachers to change schooling for all children. And then in terms of the program, the middle, my colleague who works with Elaine, Francisco, created this chart. In the middle, you see the credentials that we offer. But one of the things that is unique about our program is that we work in cohorts. So you come in as part of a cohort, you're part of a team, and we work really hard to build that community. So we have a multiple subject cohort. The English and social science folks are grouped into an ethnic studies cohort. We have a STEM cohort that consists of math and science. And then our ed specialists actually work alongside our elementary teachers. And then we have a music cohort. Along with that, we have all these various specializations, which I'll share with you in a sec. And so you know that these are the pathways. We have some people come as two-year graduate students. Some people come as UCLA undergraduates right now in either the field of math, science, or music. And I'll reiterate that in a second. And then we have what's called a residency pathway. And it's not an intern, it's still a student teaching situation, but you begin. So right now we have 4 residencies in LA Unified. Those students began their coursework, their placement right when LA Unified started up, which was the middle of August. And they will stay in those classrooms through the whole year. And so that residency is a commitment with LA Unified, and we know moving forward, we will have these residencies in STEM and our ed specialists. And these have been funded by the state of California. They come with a lot of funding for students. So residency students receive a stipend that helps them pay, a living stipend that helps them pay for expenses while they're in school. This is sort of what it looks like. Here's our cohort area. Year 1 in the program is about earning your Credential. And then year 2, you are teaching full-time and finishing up a master's degree. So that's why I say we're a 2-year graduate program. So the undergraduates at UCLA, so people like you who've transferred in, begin their credentialing work in the last year of their bachelor's degree. These are some of the things that make us different from other programs. Like I said, we're cohort based. Everyone in the program is in a cohort. And we believe that's really important to keep people together because we think that that's how, one, you form community, and two, it helps you stay on track academically. So all the cohorts are headed by what the title is faculty advisors. They're faculty members at UCLA, and they were also all former teachers, and so K-12 teachers. And so we think that that organization is really important to our program. Like I said, the second year you're employed full time. And earning a teacher's salary and finishing a master's degree. In that second year, we continue to come into your classrooms and do whatever it is that you're asking us to do. Sometimes people say, well, will you come and see? I don't think I'm working well with this particular group of students. And so a faculty member will go in and give you some feedback. These are our specialized pathways. I mentioned ethnic studies. The group that is with us now is our 10th cohort of ethnic studies students. We started this work right when LA Unified said that they were going to offer ethnic studies for all students as a graduation requirement. We have what's called a bilingual authorization. So this is I think I have a slide that speaks to that. And then we have a computer science authorization. So this is the undergraduate pathway in math. It's called the Joint Math Education Program. And students, the major is math for teaching. In the last year of that BS program, I think I said BA, but I know it's a BS, they are working on a credential, and the same is true of science. So this is called JMEP, and this is called STEP. We have a similar program in music. In science, it could be any science major. In music, you need to have been admitted to the Herb Alpert School of Music as a music education major. So those students, again, still undergraduates at UCLA and are working towards their credential. We work in what we say urban schools in Los Angeles. These happen to be, UCLA has 2 community schools, and these are schools that we have really close connections to. The UCLA Community School was built from the ground up, right, by many of the first teachers, and this is still the case. Many of the teachers are our alum. And so those are places of learning for us. So this is the UCLA Community School, and this is Man UCLA Community School. One in the Pico Union neighborhood, and Man UCLA is in South LA. Again, schools with a lot of our alum. Schools where you will see student teachers, first-year teachers, and teachers who have been teaching for 15, 16 years, right, who are alum of our program. So we try to build that structure in so that you have support as you continue to grow as a teacher. And then I just wanted to say, I don't want to give a lecture, but rather to say that we ground our work in community. If folks are familiar with Tara Yoso's work on cultural community wealth, which centers experiences, right, that typically mainstream society does not. And so, so I won't go in too much into detail, but these are what she lists, right? She talks about linguistic capital, right? And how children in multilingual families are taught to translate for parents, right? That all of that is wealth that is important to lift up. And so we center our work in communities in this construct of cultural community wealth, and it's how we approach communities where we work. And then because I was on a theory roll, I give you the words of Goldie Muhammad, right? That we need to frame the stories of people of color, right? If we only frame our pain, then that becomes the dominant narrative. And it's been the work of our program to say that there's more, right? That we're more than our pain, and that there's a lot of really beautiful work happening in spaces in this city, and that we work to lift up those stories. And I think that's all. I think, I wanted to end with this image, because I think we're going to come to a time of building. And right now we know it's a difficult time in the city, in the state, and we will come back to a place of building. And that's my hope and what I'm looking forward to.